Hey guys, it's your girl Corporate Carolyn, and I am trying to wrap up my corporate workday. But I wanted to make a video before my husband comes home and starts making noise or whatnot, and I'll have to wrap this up shorter than I wanted to. And so I'll just go back and finish the rest of my work in just a little bit after I finish this. But I had a thought. I've done a number of videos talking about how I lose weight and keep it off, or mainly it's how the keeping off part, especially at 58. And yes, I'm 58, which is why I'm so excited to let you guys see my outfits. One, because I don't think anybody has seen them other than when I went out to get fruit earlier today. And so it's a very exciting thing for a person who used to be a little chubby chunker back in high school, like heavier than I wanted to be. In fact, the funny thing is I'm heavier, well, I'm lighter now than I was when my husband met me back in like 1987, I think, when I was like 19. So he's really gotten a good deal, and he's very excited about that. But it's just a blessing, and not only do I want to share it with other ladies approaching 50 or in their 50s, letting people know that just because AARP has started sending you like complimentary magazines, it doesn't mean that it's all over for you. And even if you're at a weight that you don't want to be at, you can still turn the ship around. It's not the end of the world. Don't just say, oh, well, I just throw up my hands, it's over, forget about it. Don't do that, because there's some times where even I have given away like wonderful dresses that I thought, well, it's probably over. I am in my 50s. Other ladies are not losing the weight, and it was more difficult for me to lose the weight because your metabolism changes. For me, every year that you passed 40, I noticed that that I was having a harder time losing and keeping weight off. But I think it was mainly because for the most part, you have to realize that you can't do what you've always done. And if you see that you're not getting the results that you want, you have to be willing to change, to turn the ship around, and to acknowledge that you're not doing the things that lead to the goal that you want. And you have two choices when you're not getting the results that you want. You can just keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity, right? Or you can say, I'm going to figure out some ways that I can do something different in order to get the results that I want, or at least to see some improvement. And so that's what this video is about. And for all of you who say, 58 where, I'm legitimately 58 because I actually write notes down, and the notes are in cursive. So that lets you know how old I am, that I actually write notes in cursive. But I jotted down a few things that I thought of, because you have to be, everybody's trying to do something that's just so like big and so complicated. People are doing Weight Watchers, they're doing Nutrisystem, or whatever it might be called. They're wanting to take Ozempic, or I forget what the other drug is, the G word, and I know it's so tempting. And believe me, I get it. If you have a large amount of weight to lose, I know how hard it is to lose 5 pounds or 8 pounds or 10 pounds. Definitely, it's hard. It's not an easy proposition. Life is, full of challenges. If you're raising kids, you're working, you're just busy, and it's very difficult. So I'm not making light of anybody's weight loss struggle. And sometimes when I see people really heavy, I actually pray for them and ask that the Lord will help them in their struggles, because I do realize that sometimes you need almost like a little supernatural help in order to help you get from point A to point B if you haven't been able to do it easily on your own. And it's funny, that's the subject of this. Over the years, like when I was that little chubby chubster I told you about, wanting to lose weight, being in the projects, like being poor, never having the kind of clothes that I want, that's why you see me dressed up all the time, even though nobody really turns their camera on. Only 2 people have ever turned their camera on in over 2 years that that they've talked to me where I was able to turn my camera on. So it's not like, the people at work are trying to see this. The people at my grocery store, they don't care. It's mainly for me. And because I said when I was younger, I said, man, one day I'm going to be slim and I'm going to have beautiful clothes. And praise God, that did happen. It took maybe about 40 years to get to this point, but it's such a blessing. And one of the main things, I know I share a lot of practical tips of how I got here, but one of the ways is a still small voice. And like, you may not believe in God, but I do. And I believe that all those years that I was praying for the Lord, that I would just wake up one day and lose 15 pounds without doing anything. I thought that was foolishness and nonsense, but on a different day, maybe I could tell you that story if anybody's interested, of how it felt like I did just wake up one day and lost 15 pounds without doing anything. But that wasn't really what happened. It was like I felt the Lord, and you can say a small, still voice, whatever voice you want to call it. But for me, I believe as I kept praying that, the Lord led me on a path to help me lose weight. And there are things that I'm still pulling from even at 58. And so what was I going to say? And the reason I prayed that crazy prayer was because I used to try diet sodas. I'm one of the weird people. I can't eat diet foods or drink diet drinks because the whole aspartame thing, it makes me feel queasy. I wound up getting headaches, and I didn't like the taste of that. And I remember I used to be a big soda drinker, which was, a really bad thing. If you can cut your soda consumption by more than half, and work with the goal of trying to get it to like maybe an occasional treat that you don't drink on a regular basis, that will go a long ways to helping you get to the weight that you want to be at. But I started to feel queasy when I would eat this 8-pack of strawberry cream cookies that I would get at Clemson at their little convenience store by my apartment, and I would drink the biggest single serving drink they had. It might have been 16 ounces at that time. And then after a while I noticed that I felt queasy combining the two. And that still voice said to me at some point, why don't you try drinking water with your sweets? And see, I like sweets. If you guys listen and I tell you what my weaknesses are, on the weekends, I like to eat sweet treats. Like it might be a zero candy bar. It might be, Oreo, the cream cookies or the vanilla flavored cookies. I like that kind of stuff. And so I wait for the weekend and I kind of go crazy. I like Krispy Kreme donuts. I like sweets. But that voice that told me, hey, why don't you try water with that? And then I found out how well water goes with sweet treats. It was so much better than the soda. And then, so that cut my soda consumption in a major way. And so even to this day, like if I'm eating red velvet cake, which is one of my favorites, I don't eat that without water. I'm not even used to anymore eating sweets just by themselves. I'm usually drinking water. But that kind of lent itself to, over the years, I'm drinking water all the time now. If you see that I'm sitting here, and it's a struggle for me just to even talk for a long period without drinking water, because I'm just so used to being so hydrated. That is one of the number one blessings that I've had in terms of keeping my weight at a healthy thing. All right, so now let me finally look at my notes. Another thing that still small voice said to me when I was in college at Clemson, I eat a lot of sandwiches. I used to love peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I probably went at least 20 years eating that for lunch every day before I started intermittent fasting. And so back in the 80s, I believe the Lord, you can substitute that still small voice, but led me to low calorie bread. Like the bread I was eating was closer to 100 calories a slice. And then next thing you know, I started trying bread that might have been 80, that might have been 60. There was a time I was using bread that was only 50 calories a slice. So I had never really looked at the back of labels. And so now, I want to know how many calories are in the bread that I'm eating. And I think right now the bread that I eat is about 60 calories. And then I made the switch from white bread to only whole wheat bread. And so now I don't eat white bread. If I'm going to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, even when I was pregnant and I was eating bologna sandwiches, fried bologna sandwiches, because I grew up in Georgia and South Carolina, I used to eat fried bologna. I don't eat luncheon meat now anymore, but even when I was pregnant, and I said, boy, I would love a fried bologna sandwich, I ate that on whole wheat. And so those are the kinds of things, like little changes. Another one, I used to drink whole milk. I like milk. I liked cereal, and every day, if you saw the video where I showed what my first meal of the day for my intermittent fasting is, it's cereal. I love cereal, but I went from whole milk, that's voice said, why don't you try 2%? For the longest, I did 2%. And I said, hey, this is kind of good. And I kept seeing the 1%. It might have been at Bilo or A&P. I saw 1% for the first time in the late 80s. And so I said, let me try that. And I couldn't tell a perceptible difference between the 2% and the 1%. So I said, hey, and then I finally switched to 1%. Guess what? 2024, I only drink 1% milk. And between switching from sodas to water, from switching to low calorie bread, from switching to 1% milk, it adds up over time. And so then another thing, during COVID, when we were all home cooped up together, my husband started making breakfasts on the weekend, where he would make not just bacon, but polska kielbasa sausage and the round little sausage patties with the maple, syrup in them. He would do eggs. He would do grits. And then also, because, I got highfalutin once I left Georgia, I like croissants. So we would have croissants and we'd make croissant sandwiches. And so we were doing that like every weekend. And then even after COVID ended, he's like, you want me to make you, breakfast? And I was like, yeah. And then I noticed that when I went to my gynecologist after COVID was over, and she weighed me, she said, you've gained, like 10 pounds. I was like, what? I haven't gained 10 pounds. And then I said, it's because, the lady told me I could get on the scale with my shoes on, and I had my backpack purse on, and I took all of that off, and I still was like 8 pounds heavier. And so I was insulted and annoyed, but she did the right thing by saying something to me and making me, almost embarrassed about it. But I realized that my eating had gotten out of control. And so after a while, my husband said, you want me to make breakfast? I said, thank you though. I'm going to eat my cereal, that cereal mix that you saw there with the 1% milk. So over the last year, we've been back to eating our cereal for breakfast. Every once in a while, I might add, 2 Krispy Kreme donuts with some coffee, but still the bulk of it is cereal, not, fatty meats, with a lot of, bad things in them, the nitrates and all that stuff. I don't really need that. And so it's so funny. I didn't get a chance to go back to see that doctor because she's retired, because I wanted to go back and say, how you like me now? But when I went to get a mammogram, they asked me, they said, have you lost any weight? And I said, maybe a few pounds. And the lady was like, you lost more like 10, because we can tell it in your breast tissue. Of course, I would lose weight, in my boobs, the little boobs that I do have, but I was very happy to see that. And just that one little switch of going back from eating, high fat, high calorie breakfast on the weekend back to my normal cereal, that made a big difference. And then another thing that small still voice led me to do was probably about a decade ago, start eating salads, like when you go to the restaurants and order a meat. Like Longhorn is one of my favorite places to go. They have a strawberry pecan salad that I love. No pecans, no cheese, no dressing, extra fruit though. And then I order their spicy chicken bites. So yes, I like fried foods. I don't fry any, but when I go to Longhorn, I want their spicy chicken bites. And I get like their sweet chili ginger that comes on the side. Do I pour it on my salad, wasting a lot of fat? No. What I do is I cut up the meat, and for every bite of salad I take, I dip a piece of that meat in that dressing or sauce, and that's what gives my salad a lot of flavor. So maybe you could do that, but never dump all of that fat on top of your salad, because I heard that a lot of times women are wasting a lot of saturated fat and burning a lot of calories with just salad dressing. So think about that as well. Let's see. And then for my boys, I even instilled a love of salad. So it must have been longer than a decade ago. It must have been longer than that, because in their high school years, every Friday I would go to Red Robin and get them a salad with chicken cut up on it. I think it was maybe a buffalo chicken salad or whatever. So it kind of developed a love of that for them of salads. And so that's what they were eating every Friday night during high school. And so I was hoping that once they went away, they would do the same thing. And I think Famous Dave's, this rib place, they have like a chicken salad as well that I would get to them. I would alternate on the weekends. So for the most part, we were eating a lot of salads on a night where I called Fun Food Friday. So maybe you could find a way to incorporate more salads, less dressing, and find meats that are spicy or that taste good, and you wind up eating more greenery than you're actually eating of the meats. And then the whole not eating after 8, that came to me probably I don't know, like the early 2000s, and I've been doing that consistently for over 20 years. On the weekends, where I'm eating my sweets and my little zero bars or whatever, I don't do that as much, but I still keep the intermittent fasting where I don't eat until after 12. So that kind of helps offset it. So that might be something you can think about too. See, these aren't difficult things. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to risk side effects, but these are like little tweaks that you could make. And then if you're not enjoying, like for red meat, I used to make tacos all the time. I used to eat burgers, and then places started charring them, and I hate char. Something came to me and said you shouldn't eat char. I looked it up. Char is carcinogenic. And so then restaurants kept doing it. And so finally I said, I'm not going to eat burgers anymore, except for on rare occasions. I stopped enjoying red meat as much, and so I scaled it back. So the only time I eat burgers is at this place called Fat Ronnie's when we go on vacation, and so that's maybe like once or twice a year. So that saved a lot of saturated fat, hopefully helped with me to have a healthy blood pressure, now that I am so close to 60, but it might for you as well. Maybe you don't need to eat as many burgers. That will definitely, especially, which usually lends itself to eating a bunch of fries, maybe you can scale that back. Do I eat fries? Yeah, I eat sweet potato fries when I eat a spicy chicken sandwich from a place called Matchbox, but it's not on a regular basis. So, pick and choose where you want to, to burn these extra calories or whatever. And then let's see, hibiscus tea, that's a little voice that came to me as well. Like instead of having an extra pack of cocoa with my coffee, I switched to unsweetened hibiscus tea, which is supposed to be good for high blood pressure and also for a lot of other things. And then another voice said, you need to take your butt upstairs after dinner, after everything's cleaned up. Go upstairs, decompress, put your night clothes on, brush your teeth, floss, so that you're not wanting to eat. Once dinner is over, as much as you can, let your eating be over. You'd be amazed at the difference that would lend itself to you maintaining a healthier weight or losing weight without doing something drastic. And then there was a time where, to keep from eating after 8, I said, aha, I'll drink a tall glass of sweet tea. That should be better than snacks. And I wasn't measuring how much sugar was in it. It was very sweet. And I said, oh, because I'm not eating, it shouldn't be a big deal. But I didn't realize the amount of sugar I was wasting. And I was like going to the grocery store and buying, sugar on a regular basis. And then after a while, when I was trying to lose that weight, after the doctor mentioned it, then I realized, I said, well, maybe I shouldn't drink sweet tea at night. And I read that can lead to to, maybe increased insulin resistance. And I don't want to be a diabetic. My grandmother was diabetic. So I said, well, maybe I don't need to be doing this. And so then all of a sudden, I said, okay, no more sweet tea. I can't tell you the last time I bought a bag of sugar. And so now I just drink water for the rest of the night. It's not life-changing or like where I have to change my habits so much. All I did was just say, okay, no more sweet tea at night. And then that really helped. And then another thing, as a part of me getting another Christian term, getting my flesh under control, I fast on Mondays until 6 p.m. until dinner. And like that allows me like to spend some time in prayer, reflection, just really getting myself under control, especially after Saturday and Sunday of eating a bunch of treats, acting like I don't have good sense. So Monday, it's like I snap myself back into it. It's like, hey, it's not time to eat sweets anymore. It's time for you just to pray for people and to, like think about how you can work on yourself and talk to God and see if He has anything else to reveal to you. And then by that point, I'm ready for a week of not eating sweets. But once Saturday comes, look out, sweets, here I come. Did I have anything else? One last thing I forgot to say. Regarding the Holy Spirit leading me to make certain changes in order to lose the weight and keep it off at different times in the last 40 years. One of the most important things I forgot to mention, I talked a lot about me drinking water more than any other drink, but I forgot to mention that like back in 1991, I think, after I got married, I thought the Lord led me to realize that drinking has no purpose for me. And that's what I felt in my spirit. Drinking has no purpose for you. And I said, okay, Lord, that's fine. I don't like the taste of it anyway, so I will never drink again. And so I haven't had any alcohol since 1991. And for those of you who actually drink, there's no judgment. He didn't tell me anything about you guys. He just told me about me. But what I can say is that that not drinking has just led to a boatload of calories saved. So while other people are drinking, apple palmatinis or, like big daiquiris and all sorts of drinks that are often laden with sugar and calories and whatnot, I'm drinking water. And then they're wondering why, I'm not gaining weight in the same period like they are, even though they're my age or even younger. And a lot of times the reason is because I eat my calories, I'm not drinking them. And like I told you about the tea, that really helped, the fact that I stopped drinking as many. And also I got the revelation not to drink Red Bull unless special occasions, because after a while it didn't even keep me awake. I'd fall asleep after drinking like 20 ounces, 24 ounces. So it's like I had a spiritual timeout. You don't need that. Drink some water, go sit yourself down somewhere. And that's what I've been doing. And that's helped immensely to help me fit into the same clothes year after year. And I'm betting that if you can look at your life and figure out some areas too that you can cut back in, you might experience the same thing. Oh, about that drinking thing, I wasn't an alcoholic or had any problems with it, as some people might have wondered, but my father was an alcoholic. And so when the Lord said that to me, I said, okay, that makes sense, because I am a creature of habit and I have obsessive compulsive tendencies where if I like something, I ride it until the wheels fall off. And so I'm not a person who really needs to drink, and I'm so thankful that I actually prefer shoes to booze. So that's where I'll spend my money instead of like some of the $15 drinks that people might get when we go out. So I don't have to spend my money on that, and I don't have to waste my calories on that. And neither do you, unless you actually enjoy drinking and you're making your changes somewhere else. Some of you who may not drink may not like sweets. You may not have the same issues that I have. So no judgment at all. I'm just saying, what is working for me. And then maybe you can look at this and find the parallel in your life and see what works for you. The Spirit has led me to act like I have good sense. And as a result, I'm slimmer now at 58 than I was at 18. such a blessing. If I could run, I could run at least 2 miles, without getting tired. And I couldn't even run a mile when I was 18. So I'm physically fit now, which is good. You want to be fit and strong as you age. And so that's what some of these things will help you do. And even though I don't show you guys how I work out, when you see the videos where I'm talking about my exercise routine, I'm actually going to do a post and share some of the links to the channels with workouts that I've done in the past. And the reason I said if I could run is because an orthopedic surgeon told me that I have arthritis in my left knee, and if I want my knees to hold out for the long term, that he doesn't recommend that I run. And so that'll be some of what I share with you too in that post on things that I do from a low impact since I've been scaled back. Like I said, you can't always do what you've always done, but you can always do something. And that's what this video is about. You can always do something. And so hopefully I've shared some things that you can do. Sorry for talking so long. Obviously, I'm a big talker, but hopefully it helps somebody out there. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, and again for all of the comments and subscribers rather. I really appreciate it. Oh, one last thing. If you ever wonder where I get all these dresses and things, Saks Fifth, off Fifth, if you're ever interested. But it's very addicting, just like that Walmart app. But just in case anybody ever wondered. But for now, that's all I have. Until the next time, have a good one. Bye.